Okay, thank you, Mr. Yamaguchi. Okay, so today is Monday, about 10:25, 3:21.
3:31.
3:31, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
There's just so much going on. We had talked, and you had told me over the phone that you'd be sending me an email in regard to, my civil standby for OCC.
Yes.
I went ahead and I pulled my OCC file to show you that, the extensiveness of it as far as the last complaint, why it failed. Here's a letter from Mr. McMahon that I received in regard to videotaping priorly, and when I disagreed with it and everything, I never really received a response. And of course, like I told you before, the procedure is rigged. If you look at the last sentence, I'll let you read it.
Okay.
And you notice that letter is dated October 4th, 2012. We're going on almost 2 years here, regarding that fraudulent restraining order through the Department of Public Health, which is what I was following up with, and the culture of corruption, which I continue to speak about. And then I also, wrote their city attorney at OCC, who informed me that, unfortunately we'd have to go by, their procedure, didn't explain any of it. Once again, same thing with Mr. McMahon when he gave me Section 3304, which is not applicable. And most egregiously in this last sentence here, in addition, while you may record in a public area, you must first obtain consent, from the OCC, whose likeness must be videotaped. This is misinformation. I don't have to obtain consent. If they don't want to be videotaped, they're free to leave, but they're not free to deny me the services, which is a denial of access and accommodation. This is totally misleading, misinformative, and incorrect. This is the nature of the corruption that I speak about. Now, some of the questions that I wanted to ask you is, you told me, and you were going to be sending me an email, which you didn't, in regard to the fact that, I requested for you to go with me as my LGBT representative because, there's still many LGBT issues that have to be brought up as to why, it's taken this far, this length, this breadth, to even get treated civilly. Now, I know that you'll disagree with that, but I think the videos, if you've been watching them, quite amply speaks to what I've received, from me diligently following up and being, shall we say, stonewalled, placated, whatever the case may be. Now, I have 2 videos of me priorly seeking civil standby at OCC and HRC. One of them was in October of 2012, on YouTube, and I have them with me if you would like to see, those officers who came out and denied me that. In addition, we have to correct everything that is incorrect that allowed this to continue for so long. Also, on 12/12/12, Mr. Hanley from the Northern Station, Officer Hanley, came down to, the 25 Van Ness OCC building and HRC building to tell me that I was incorrect and that I couldn't videotape, and he gave me incorrect information and everything else. Now, these 2 incidents are from people and me calling on civil standby, and being sent out by Northern Station where apparently my rights were evaded, broken, and I was given misinformation. So now for you to tell me, that you can't help me go down there when I've explained the nature of the corruption, I don't feel safe, Mr. Yamaguchi. Another reason I don't feel safe is that this Northern Station happens to be the station which I was illegally 5150'd at. It is amazing how every technique has been used against me except that of which I should be afforded my legal and medical rights being enforced. Now, would you like to view these videos to see just how inappropriately I was treated as far as, receiving civil standby at 25 Van Ness priorly? And can you assure me that if I drink your cup of poison and call and have the people come out from Northern Station, that I will be treated correctly? Because I can show you prior incidents of not being treated correctly, and like I said, in addition, being falsely 5150'd. So as far as, this LGBT safe zone, I don't feel safe, I don't feel respected, I don't feel, honored, I don't feel any of these things. Another thing I'd like to talk to you about is, I appreciate that we're going forward with this LGBT issues and everything, but I've got over a year of being denied LGBT help. Same thing at Northern Station. Now, it's really interesting because I keep going in there and asking them to pull down that propaganda sign that they have in the window as far as the LGBT liaison, and that the chief of police has approved it, and so has the captain of that station. When I tried to escalate to the captain, I've got it on video, I've never been treated with civility. So, that's another issue that we have to broach, is this incorrect propaganda that's hanging in the windows at not only Northern Station, but Mission Station. And see, that's another fear that I have, because when I go down to San Francisco General, Mission Station covers that, and I can show you the paperwork of trying to get the LGBT liaison at Mission Station being played for many months, asking to speak to the captain and being played there also. So, we need to correct. This is all about correcting and holding accountable. It's not, if we make it accountable and correct, it will work for everybody who doesn't happen to go through, what I do as far as collecting everything to prove that it's rigged to fail. And, as my LGBT liaison, and if I'm supposed to have faith in you at this point, after having been to the chief of police for over a year and a half now, trying to push things up, having videos where people have asked me to leave because I'm disruptive, simply following up, all the same techniques, all the same inhumanity, all the games played on me, I am at this point very, not only skeptical, but I will not believe it until I see it. So, what assurances do I have that if I use your approach to call for 25 Van Ness, that the officers showing up, which, I have 2 prior incidents that we still need to speak about their incorrect performance, are going to perform correctly? And another thing, Mr. Yamaguchi, just so that you understand, basically when they send somebody out new, I have to relive everything and re-explain everything. And I believe that that's further harm on me. I realize that it's a bureaucratic shuffling to victimize the victim again, so he has to relive everything so that he'll just give up and feel vexed and harassed and walk away. But I can tell you, it doesn't make me feel safe when I've told you what the truth is, shown you the videos, I'm willing to speak to you more about getting correct, and now you're telling me you can't even go with me. And, like I said, the 2 prior incidents of not receiving anything correctly, my biggest fear is that, A, I'm going to have to relive all this again, explain to these people who still are not going to perform, because the last people who didn't perform correctly still haven't been held to account.
I've asked to respond with you. I've been given direction to have the district station officers respond to assist you. The captain of Northern Police Station is Captain McEachran. I have his phone number here for you. And then I've also...
So if I show you prior incidents of me having written Captain McEachran and him not contacting me, because now this is an assurance. I think that you're trying to make me feel better and saying that, now, this is a directive. Well, I'm a little confused. Wasn't a directive, according to the LGBT propaganda in the window, that I would be able to elevate to Captain McEachran, and I have that prior paperwork?
I will contact Captain McEachran to have Captain McEachran have an officer assist you at 25 Van Ness Avenue.
And as the assistance means that he's going to go up with me, and when they, give me incorrect law and everything, and then try to portray it as me being disruptive, because I'm asking the correct questions and being fed, as I've shown you before here, incorrect information, misinformation, which nobody has to be accountable for. Not only from them, but also from the city attorney that represents OCC. I want to be sure my rights are protected. I already know how it's set to fail, what all the dead ends are, what all the rigged methodology is. We're here to fix it. So, when I go in and they quote me Section 3304 and I pull it out and say, well, that's not what the law is, can you please show it to me? Will they give me the respect that's owed, to help me as a citizen, or will they just say that I'm being disruptive and I have to leave because they've given me their answer? And it's unfortunate that I don't like the answer I've received, as incorrect and as inappropriate as it may be, but they can wash their hands because that's what they were told by their attorney.
That is the city's, clearly that's what the city's policy is currently. Mm-hmm. If the city attorney represents to OCC that you cannot videotape there, and they stand on that, then the city attorney's office is the organization you would ask. Which
I've been to, and I have those videos on YouTube proving that that doesn't work. So once again, rigged is as rigged does. However, you are correct that that they're only following the advice, let's say, of the city attorney.
Yes.
But I am also correct in that I'm being denied access and accommodation, and they're breaking the law.
I'm not an attorney. I couldn't state.
I'm sorry.
That
is this not a public service that I'm entitled to? What do you mean you're not an attorney? You're law enforcement.
I'm not an attorney.
Right. You're law enforcement.
The section the city attorney is quoting, I'm not aware of. So the city attorney, through OCC or directly from the city attorney's office, perhaps could better advise you on what sections they're quoting.
I've already told you. I've got that advice. It's incorrect, and when I write back, they don't respond. So, that is... I have the proof that that doesn't work, that that's another rigged procedure. Regardless of the fact that they may give me incorrect answers and not respond appropriately, it does not supersede my rights to access and accommodation for the services that I'm seeking. Regardless. Whether they say that, the sky is polka dotted does not excuse the fact that these are public services that I'm seeking, that I'm more than entitled to, and regardless, that I'm being denied those services for whatever interpretation, misinterpretation, or whatnot. At the end of the day, I've not received the services. And in order to fix, which is what I'm trying to do, and showing the pattern, by continuing to throw me into rigged procedure that's not going to provide a service is not a fix, and it's not really honesty.
I can't.
It's not respectful also.
I cannot make OCC, as I've stated from the very beginning, I cannot make OCC allow you to videotape. If that is their position, and they've been so given direction from the city attorney's office.
Wonderful. Okay, so that half of the coin, what about the other half of the coin, that I can go in there and give my statement in a public space, and I should be allowed to do that, or else it's denial of access and accommodation. And then when they call and have me hauled out because they say I'm being disruptive because they're denying me access and accommodation, then can you represent my legal interests and say, well, excuse me, you can't have this. While you're right, according to the city attorney, that you have a policy, you cannot deny him that, and so please let him finish, and then we can leave.
But finish what?
Giving my statement in a public place.
Garza, if they're not willing to come out and talk to you, how are you going to give your statement?
That's a very good question. So if they don't come out and give me the services, then that's a denial, is it or not? Thank you. The answer is yes. Yes.
No, that's not.
It's not a denial. If I go in and I ask for the services and they don't come out because of whatever policy that they're relying on the city attorney and I don't receive those services, it's not a denial. Did I receive the services? I've got plenty of videos which show I don't.
Okay. You can have the services if you follow their protocol, which is you may have an audio tape of the interview, just not a videotape.
And when I've asked for the law that quotes that, they've given me incorrect law, so the protocol is not law.
Mr. Garza.
Mr. Yamaguchi.
Isn't this a really boiling down to we want to get your initial 5150, which you say was illegal, adjudicated, which is investigated, and if it was a wrongful act on the police department's part, that the people that 5150'd you be held accountable. Isn't that what your goal is here?
It's a very good question. Is that what the goal of OCC and the police is? Because if it is, then they should be able to take my statement in a public place. Oh, excuse me. And in addition, since it's being audiotaped, there is no difference between it being videotaped if it's being audiotaped. So the invasion of privacy is totally fictitious and a red herring. In addition, sir, let me finish. I've also asked for programmatic access, which is the second prong of my request to OCC, being the fact that it's my disability and the fact that I have to videotape to feel safe, considering I have a signed confession from the city having broken federal law, and now this is the only way I feel safe. It's a programmatic access issue in addition to the issue of being denied. Now, if they had any disability sensitivity training, like your office supposedly has, which is another issue that I want to bring up with you about the crisis intervention team that I read about, and why have I not been afforded this, in regard of getting my health care. But that's okay. We can continue to show all the rigged methodology that doesn't work. So I understand exactly what you're saying about not being able to force OCC to not comply with a bad policy, but it still doesn't mean that what I'm asking for is wrong or illegal. As a matter of fact, it means that their denial is still wrong and illegal.
Well, the officer's going to stand there and make sure that there's no acts of violence on your part or OCC's part. That's our goal, right? That no one get hurt.
No, I believe our goal is to make it work so that it works for everybody.
To make it work is there has to be a policy, which the city attorney...
Which should follow the law, correct. And there is no law that states that I cannot give it in a public place. It's just a misinterpretation and misinformation that they're given. And I'm not accusing the city attorney, but I was told, Section 3304, and here's this paperwork from the city attorney that I was told I was wrong. And when I wrote back, I wasn't answered because, of course, I'm not wrong. But as long as, it's a city attorney and everybody can, say, well, I'm CYA because the attorney's telling me this, doesn't make it right. Now, we need to continue to go forward on this. So what happens if I show up there and, they send a person and yet, like I said, they don't explain the laws correctly, they don't answer my questions correctly? And what if I'm just processed like I have been in the past with incorrect information? Then where do we go from here? Because, my claim is still valid. I'm still being denied access and accommodation. Oh, and mind you, the ability to hold my, government accountable, is a right I have as a citizen. And everything that I'm pointing out is showing how it's rigged to fail intentionally. Because, the fact about it being audio tape is, like I said, a red herring, when it comes to the fact that they're saying now you can't videotape, but you can audio tape. Everything is just incorrect. And I want to make it right for everybody because I've got, like I said, plenty of proof that it doesn't work. And that I've been given misinformation in the past from the police department and the city attorney and OCC.
All right, Mr. Garza. Again, here's the 2 points of contact that I'm going to refer you to right now.
Is this Sergeant
Kelly? Well, it was
Kruger.
Sergeant Kelly Dunn.
You mean Kelly Kruger, who I have years of having written her and she never responded back as my single point of contact? No, sir, I'm not going to accept that because I've got the proof that I was never contacted by that person when I was initially sent by that, and the videos are on YouTube, and had you seen the videos on YouTube, you would know that. So apparently you haven't been watching the videos to see how disgraceful I was treated by, this person, Kruger, in the past. And Padmore and others, because it's on video. And that's another issue we're going to talk about as far as LGBT liaison, because like I said, I've got the proof that she's never helped me in the past, and to send me back there with the proof I have is not respectful, is not compassionate, and it certainly isn't honesty. It's rigged. And sir, I expect more from you. Unless you are disbelieving that I don't have that paperwork. I can send it to you, and I can show you the videos on YouTube.
Okay. Mr. Garza, I've been directed to have you assisted through Northern Station. If you need police assistance at OCC or any other city agency, if you call the dispatch center, they will send an officer out. If you are not satisfied with the officer's service, when the officer arrives, we can do an OCC complaint to have OCC investigated.
You mean another complaint procedure
Mr.
like this
Garza,
last one? It's
may
not
I-
working. You're saying we can throw you back into a rigged complaint
Mr.
procedure
Garza?
where you can complain, but your statement won't
Mr.
be
Garza?
taken? How is this being helpful? How is it being honest?
Mr. Garza, again,
Respectful.
if we go back to the policies of OCC, and
Which are
currently
not
what
legal.
Currently, what I see as the problem is you demanding to videotape. And
You mean, no, I'm not demanding. That is within my legal right for access and accommodation. No, sir, that is a misrepresentation. I am being denied.
You wish to videotape, and OCC is denying the videotape.
And the access and accommodation to services that day when I come in.
And
It's a specific denial in addition.
And giving you an audio tape instead of the videotape access.
No, sir, that's not correct. They won't come out and allow me to audio tape in a public place. No, it's behind closed doors. It's all rigged for a reason. No, sir, that's not a correct statement either.
At this time, there's nothing other than having you contact the dispatch center and having an officer go out with you to make contact with the OCC. And
I will drink your cup of poison, and when that fails, then I can come back to you and show you how I was treated, how we'd spoken about it failing and why it would fail, and then you can look at me as my LGBT liaison and with the clearest look on your face say that you've afforded me respect, honesty, and compassion when it fails, because you're going to assure me that you're going to go down as a human being with me so that it doesn't happen again. Under those conditions, I will more than happily drink your cup of poison. But for you to say, go do this, and when it fails and I come back and you say, well, I'm washing my hands, I did what I was told, is not going to be a compassionate, honest, nor respectful treatment of anyone, much less an LGBT person, sir. So if we're in agreement on that if it doesn't work, I can come back. And, we can make it work, that's fine. But to, offer me false choices and false hope is not humane.
all right, if you give me a moment.
Mm-hmm.